Everybody, welcome to the third part of thatstevenrice.com on YouTube. My painting of Beetlejuice is coming along exponentially. Right now, we're doing the final bits here for the next 8 minutes or so, showing the entire process. So what we're working on at this moment is I'm taking my airbrush. I have a very, very soft airbrush that I use. Usually you can see here my opacity is at 100%, but I keep the flow around 70% at all times. And what I'm doing is have my reference on the left, the regular bit on the right, and I'm just painting at this point. Just adding in those details, smoothing out transitions, covering up some of the line work that I didn't want showing at the time, and some line work stays in, some doesn't. It just depends on how I'm feeling that day, what the piece requires, and things like that. What you'll see here is in order to get the stubble and the moss and growth and stuff like that on him, I go into my airbrush settings and I change the splatter size and the splatter amount to make sure that I get the right thing. And it's a lot of trial and error, to be honest with you, where I'll do a quick spray test. If it doesn't look right, I'll go ahead and I'll change the actual settings until I get something that looks perfect. And really, when it comes to art, that's all you need to worry about, is getting things the way you like them. And when it comes to the splattering, I realize that method's one of my favorites to go ahead and do. So mostly what you're going to end up seeing here is just me going in and doing all the details that I need to do. I had a little bit of trouble with my icons and my cursor at this point. For some reason it went from being the actual size of the brush itself to being just the precision cursor and wasn't wanting to change back, but I fixed that. It took about like a minute or so to get it to start working right. So I'm just going in and doing the hair a little bit differently than what's actually in the picture. I wasn't sure if I was going to have a blue background yet or not, so I didn't want to paint the hair blue. So I left a lot of blank space and things like that, just so that if I do decide to change the color, I wouldn't have to go back and repaint all of that as well. So heading over to Winona Ryder, basically I'm just doing the same thing I was doing on the Michael Keaton side of things, is going over line work, making sure that certain line work shows, certain line work doesn't. If I want the skin tone to be ultra smooth, I'll make it ultra smooth and hide some of the line work, but in certain places I wanted the bold black lines to do a little bit of separation, and you'll see where I keep that there for us. So right now, working on the lips, I always had a problem with mouths. When it came to painting them, when it came to drawing them, I could never get them to look right. And what ended up clicking for me eventually was I started doing, when I would do original drawings where I didn't have a reference, I would actually use ovals, just kind of like a teardrop shapes and stuff like that, and just build it out that way, and then erase whatever I built out and draw the full actual shape. And it's a long roundabout way. I don't recommend doing it that way, but it helped me overall to get my my lip shapes looking at least a little bit better. They're still not perfect. I'm still not fully happy with the way any of my lips are in any of my paintings. Even in this one, I don't think I got that confused to look nearly as well as I wanted to, because the look that she has in the movie at this point of realizing she's getting married to Beetlejuice and all the chaos that's going around on her, it's priceless, and that's why I chose the picture. I don't think I quite nailed it. So I went ahead and I did put a new layer under my line work here because I wanted to get a base color, just get that base red down there without losing my line work right away. Once I did that, I immediately merged it with line work and started painting in some of the darker colors and stuff. And this sheer material I never painted before. This is the first time trying anything that was kind of sheer, where stuff would overlap and certain parts would be brighter and darker because of the overlaps and everything. And it turned out all right. I'm not completely happy with it ultimately, but I think I did a good enough job. Honestly, the main focus on this entire piece is their faces and the actual portrait side of things anyway, so I'm not too concerned with that. And that's one thing when it comes to painting that's super important to me, is that the focus is where it's supposed to be. As long as the focus is exactly where it is supposed to be, you can worry about not doing too many details in certain areas, because the eye's going to naturally focus to certain things, and in this case it's going to be the look on their faces, and you know, just the detail in the face, as much realism as I could get out of this piece. And like I said, I was struggling with this piece quite a bit, trying to get it to look right, to feel right, and luckily it came through in the end. There's many times where I was going to abandon it and just let the first two parts kind of stick up there and do what they needed to do, and other times I was just gonna kind of half-ass the painting in general and go from there. So I'm almost done on the painting side of things here, and you'll see what I'm doing now is I'm using that airbrush to add more texture into the sheer dress that she's wearing. So I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to do a border, my famous weird crazy kind of borders, and put a new layer underneath that, and I'm going to work with the background. At first I do try to go for a kind of naturalistic blue. I thought that kind of popped against the red really well and looked really good. So that's what I did. I popped that on there, and everything was looking bold and kind of bright and nice, and I've used kind of a water color technique. But I didn't like the piece as a whole. So I start messing around here, and you'll see some trial and error where I'm going to start changing colors around and going from there. I wanted to be kind of bleak. I wanted to be kind of almost dead looking in a way. So I'm just using some Photoshop tweaks, using some levels, some color lookup stuff, things like that to just push through and get it going. Final steps are coming up here now in terms of the canvas texture that I always use, and now I'm going in with a colored pencil and getting all the details in there, adding some more highlights and everything. So with that, we're coming up on the end of the piece. I want to thank you so much for following me on this three-step journey to this Beetlejuice piece. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm actually very proud of the piece in general. What I'd like you guys to do is go ahead, if you like the video, hit that like button, go ahead, share it, hit the subscribe button, and also we did just launch our Patreon account. If you didn't see my last update blog video, we launched a Patreon at www.patreon.com/thatstevenrice, where you can get exclusive content to be able to download these pieces and to be able to get first look, first shot, first viewing of all of these YouTube videos. So once again, this is That Steven Rice. I want to thank you for watching my YouTube channel. You have a great rest of your day.